G'day guys, Duckville here. Welcome to a replay, in fact a set of replays we're going to watch from the TSL number 4, the qualifiers from Korea. This is going to be between a Protoss and another Protoss. You'll have heard of one of them. The first one down here in the bottom right, you may not have heard of him, but I have done a couple of casts. It is Dream Team Gaming Scar. He'll be starting down here in the bottom right of Ohana. His opponent up the top right will be the recent recruit to Fnatic. It is Oz, of course, a player well renowned for his PvP skills, of course, and he's been just he's sort of not underperforming, but he definitely is capable of getting some more things done, and hopefully we'll be able to see some more of him very soon. But as I said, PvP, so it's going to be very interesting to see how these guys play it out. Of course, in Korea, the general just is sort of around the Blink/Robo styles. We're starting to see a lot more of the Stargate stuff come into the higher level play. Of course, if you watch GSL and Pro League, you might see a little bit of Stargate action there. We'll have to see what these guys decide to go with. Scar just opening up with everything standard, of course. Not many people actually know that Oz was actually previously a Brood War player. He went under the name Secret, had some good wins against some high quality players in the Brood War scene, such as Bisu and Free and Anytime. Some of those guys here, you might know some of their names if you're a little bit old school, but yeah, Oz is definitely a good player. He sort of just cut down on a bit of StarCraft Brood War in 2010, got ready for StarCraft 2. Meanwhile, for Scar, of course, he's also he was previously, I believe, a little bit of a practice partner for one of the Brood War teams, and now he's obviously jumping into the StarCraft 2 sphere, and he's doing a good job. He's a very good PvP player as well. We'll find out what he gets up to here. Probe just scouting out what's going on. Sees that one of the gas is up, so it's not going to be anything crazy, but there is definitely going to be, you'll have to sort of check and see what's going on with the second gas there, and is he going to steal it? We'll have to find out in a minute. But meanwhile, for Oz, he's just had a quick look down here at the natural expansion, just to make sure that his opponent hasn't put a proxy pylon or anything like that down here. Meanwhile, for Scar, he's noted that the second gas has gone up for Oz, so it does look like we're going to have the sort of new variation of PvP, where a lot of the time you'll actually see players go for this 3-stalker rush, which I'm assuming both of these guys are going to go for. As you can see on the production tab, we are very even with how things are settled at the current time. But yeah, of course, with the recent advent of, well, not recent, I suppose it's a little while ago now, but the advent of the death of 4Gate, that means that a lot of PvP has started going into a little bit more of a macro, a mid-game phase, where you will actually start to see bigger armies. You won't see as many very simple gateway-based rushes or anything like that. And it's really good. I think it changes the matchup quite a lot, makes it go to a later stage when you can get to see some more interesting things, especially when people open up with Stargates as well. But as we can see, both the kids here are getting out the Stalkers. In fact, it looks like Scar is actually just going to get a second. He's going to get the second Stalker and then a Sentry, so he's going to go a little bit safer here. We'll have to see what type of build he's going for. Of course, if you get the Sentries out a little bit quicker, it can indicate that you are going to go for a little bit more of a sort of a safer / riskier build. And at the, yeah, he's going to get a Robo straight out off the 2 gates here. He's forced back the Stalker that came down from Oz. Oz just poking out to have a quick look at what's going on. His second and third Stalkers are actually back at base, making sure that Scar does not get any further intelligence of what's going on inside Oz's base. As we can see, the effectively everything here has been hidden, including this very quick Twilight Council off the 2 gates there. So I would be assuming that Oz is going to, or perhaps he's not, he's going to just do the expansion off the 2 gates. He's had a quick look at what Scar had available, and has just decided for the time being that it is time to go for the expansion. Of course, Scar is going to do the same thing. As we said, you know, PvP gets to a lot more of a macro sort of phase, and you know, the next sort of section of the game is where we're going to see how these guys decide to play it out. And from the looks of it, we've got Oz moving up to that blink tech. He's got a couple more units just popping out, some sentries that'll help out with the defense of this quick natural expansion. Meanwhile, for Scar, he's also got a few sentries out along with some Stalkers, and he will be getting out an Immortal as well. So it looks like things will definitely go on for a little while now. So this sort of delays any sort of timings. Of course, it means that both the players will not be able to do any sort of big death-style attacks where you would normally just see, you know, a whole bunch of gates and players just really going for a big kill. Because, of course, a lot of money has been invested in getting this natural expansion up. And of course, you'll need to keep those sentries available for in case your opponent hasn't gone for that macro style and is going for more of an attacking based plays. But as we can see, of course, Scar is just getting out more of his Immortals to make sure that he's got a good defense against those Stalkers. As we said, Stalker's a little bit of a popular thing here in Korea, of course. So he's going to be safe with those Immortals that he's just cranking out right now. So Oz, I'm interested to see what Oz is going to do. Of course, he has no real intelligence of what's going on here at Scar's base. As you can see by the fog of war, nothing has been revealed at all. But it does look like Oz is going to move in for a little attack here. He does have a slight advantage in the supply count, of course. The big issue is that Scar, getting a little bit trigger happy there with his Immortals, is actually got these Immortals out. So he should be fine against this particular style of attack. Of course, what Oz will be doing is relying on these force fields to actually zone out some of the units from Scar, but then using the Blink Stalkers as a very mobile unit to attack into his opponent. And from what we can see at the moment, Oz is just, what is he doing here? He's just having a little play at the bottom of the ramp here, just blinking back, forcing a Guardian Shield from Scar. Scar's not going to be happy about that, but it's not too much of a problem, I suppose. Putting down a couple of extra gates, we can also see that the robotics bay has finished. However, of course, because the Immortals have been the unit of choice for the time being to deal with the Stalkers that Oz has been throwing at Scar, he's not been able to get any Colossus started. So we will see, is he going to get one out soon? I would assume he's going to get started with them soon. He's just getting an extra quick observer out to make sure he's got some good vision on the map. Meanwhile, back at Oz's base, still getting his own tech going. We've got we've just got the gateways and these basic forces for the moment. He's also got another observer just about to pop out so he can get some vision on the high ground. I'm assuming that that's going to be what Oz will be looking for, is to take advantage of the fact that if he can get an observer up here, you can actually just blink straight up into the main, do some harassment, and then head straight back out if you need to. But I'd like to find out if he's going to be able to do that. At the moment, Scar is getting good vision on exactly what is happening. Can see that there is no extra robotics facility just yet. That the robotics bay, sorry, is actually just still in construction here for Oz. It's just down at the natural expansion. He also has a dark shrine on the way. We've got a dark shrine for Scar. No, we don't just yet. He's getting a few extra gates up along with his blink as well. And yeah, this game is sort of just going very slowly at the moment. Both the players just really biding their time, making sure they've got all the particular technology and the particular units that they need to get everything done. And it looks as if Oz might start out the festivities here with a blink inside the main. Actually takes out the observer of Scar, which is not good for Scar at all, but it looks like we've got the Immortals still just sitting down here at the natural, and Oz decides it's better to retreat for the time being, and Scar is able to clean up a couple of the Stalkers while only losing a couple of his own. So a nice little, just I think Oz was just wanting to check exactly what was going on, because of course he really didn't have too much intel of what was inside the main. In fact, that one blink in is all that he has seen of the base of Scar, and that's quite interesting to see at this stage of the game, is that a player is still quite in the dark at this stage. You would have thought that Oz would have been able to slip an observer inside somehow. Meanwhile, speaking of slipping around, a probe trying to get by the left-hand side of the map, but is actually spotted by this hidden pylon of Oz, so he's looking quite good at the moment. Meanwhile, it looks like we may have a little bit of a battle out in the middle of the map. Oz is caught out slightly. We'll have to see if the micro here is good enough to actually cut down some of the units from Scar, but it's not, and it looks as if a DT is going to try and just bust in through the main base, but a Colossus and a couple of Immortals say, no buddy, you're not getting anywhere. But yeah, not too much getting done from either of these players just yet. Oz has now just finished his extended thermal lance, and of course he has a couple of Colossi out. We've got his upgrades churning at the moment, +1 to the ground weapons is on the way. Meanwhile, for Scar, he doesn't have any upgrades just as of yet. So things are just sort of waiting to heat up at the moment. As we can see, Oz trying to control as much of the map as he can, but unfortunately his units that were roaming around are slowly being picked off a little. We saw a few of those Stalkers die earlier, now with Zealot, but it looks like Scar may have pushed a little bit too far forward. Colossus have a couple of goes at the Stalkers that were trying to blink around, but were not able to kill too much that was there. And of course, Scar has his own Colossi in the mix, along with an Archon. Interesting to see that he's got that little additive to his army there. But now looks like Scar may be going for a little bit of a trick play. Is there pylon range here? Is that actually... Yes, I think there is just enough space here for one warp in. Yes, there is. He's got a DT. 2 DTs, in fact, now inside the main. Meanwhile, there is a battle down at the bottom Naga Tower for Scar. He's able to just sort of hold up Oz's forces for the moment here, but a sandwich is in effect. Meanwhile, back inside the main of Oz, as we can see, he's getting chopped up quite a bit by that DT. And now we've got some interesting force fields from Oz. He actually cuts off some of his own Zealots, which is not the best way to do it, especially when there are quite a lot of Stalkers here for Oz. But the DTs inside the natural have now hacked down that Nexus. He's actually going to get this Nexus before anything is able to be done here by Oz. And now Scar is going to try and target down some of these pylons to make sure that Oz is not able to warp in any more forces here. But Scar now pushing back across the map. He does have he's got a lot higher of his Stalker count here compared to what Oz has. Oz has a lot of these charge lots here, and of course charge lots are quite nice to have in a Colossus-based army. They'll provide you with a lot of DPS against Stalkers and able to tank a lot of Stalker damage, and then you can just sort of run up to those Colossi, and hopefully in that time your own Colossi will have done quite a bit of damage as well. But Oz has taken his third base here. Scar is only just getting his up now. He's got a couple of cannons to help out with the defense here, and it looks like Scar is he going to prepare to actually go for it? I'm not actually sure. He's getting close to mining out in the main. His +2 to ground weapons is just about to complete. Meanwhile, for Oz, he does not have his +2 just yet. His is also just on the way at the moment. But Scar has now got his +2. +3 is now researching along with his charge. So Scar is actually sitting in a very nice position at the moment. He's got a nice mix of units. We got a lot of Stalkers here, along with the Zealots and everything else. And the Colossi will now have to battle it out. It looks like Oz is committing to this attack at the front. He's got 4 Colossi. They're not spread out too much, and Scars are actually spread out a little bit further. The Zealots at the side trying to take out the third base here, but the extra Zealots that were available for Scar look as if they have tanked a lot of the damage from these Colossi and the Stalkers, and that is going to be it. Scar has just cleaned up a lot of that army there, and while Oz has done a bit of damage himself, it is not enough, and Oz realizes that the game is done. So game number 1 here, this is a best of 3, goes to Scar from Dream Team Gaming, and we'll see if FnaticOz is able to come back in the next game. We'll be right back with that one in just a moment.